Woohoo! Woohoo! Want to learn how we lost 110 pounds and reversed Skatz's type 2 diabetes? It's a diet where you won't feel hungry all the time, and it sustains you so much that it actually improves your immune response. It is, of course, the magic of keto and intermittent fasting. Stay watching until the very end for an extra bonus. Welcome to the Liz and Skatz channel. Hi, I'm Liz. I'm a clinical holistic therapist, yoga and meditation teacher, and soon to be keto nutritionalist as well. And with my lovely husband Skatz, we have, as I said before, lost 110 pounds doing keto and intermittent fasting. And now we are hoping to bring to you lots of lovely holistic ways that you can lose weight and keep weight off, as well as staying mentally healthy the holistic way. You can help us to help you by doing this.
Subscribe, and click on the bell.
At this time of year especially, it's really hard to wade through all of the information and actually find out what you need when it comes to losing weight or keeping weight off. We have tried to lose weight on and off over the years that we've known one another and have always managed to get rid of the weight, but then it always comes back. But for the first time, with this incredible combination of keto and intermittent fasting, we've been able to lose all of this weight and keep it off and make ourselves so much healthier into the bargain. It frees up our day so we don't have to be thinking when I'm going to eat, what I'm going to eat. It's always brilliant to have a little bit of extra time in the day, and this is what keto and fasting does for us. And isn't it wonderful that during the winter time and all year round, it actually increases your immune response? Fabulous. So amazing is keto and fasting that it can actually reverse damage done by misbehaviors like eating too many carbohydrates and sugars, and even things like smoking. We found that most diets that we've tried in the past have actually left us feeling really hungry, and it's not an easy thing to keep to it when you're around everybody who's eating foods that they would normally eat or that you would normally eat, and you're sitting there munching on a bit of lettuce with some sparkling water. It doesn't always work. So the great duo of keto and intermittent fasting really does help us to lose weight and gain health. But why? Keto actually means that we shift into something called ketosis, which is actually burning fat instead of burning glucose, which we gain from high carbohydrate diets. It's a metabolic shift that happens when we eat very low quantities of carbohydrates, or we fast for more than 16 hours or more. When we have a high carb diet, like most Westerners do, then we actually use glucose as a form of energy for physically and mentally as well. However, glucose is not a very efficient fuel. If you think of your body as a fire and glucose as paper, then you'll see how fast it burns. It's brilliant and it's warm, but it's soon gone. Now that's great for actually setting a fire, getting it going, but it's no good if you want some energy for a length of time. Fat, however, is the low, slow burn, which is perfect for keeping you going and sustained for the entire day. This also means that we are mentally more alert and keeping active, and so that really does help us to lose the weight too. We used to have a mid-afternoon slump where we'd usually nod off, or we'd nod off after we'd finished our evening meal. Now that just doesn't happen anymore because we've got the energy to sustain us. When we're burning fat or we're in ketosis, we actually produce something called ketones. Ketones are a much better fuel for the brain. They can actually reach into your brain much further than the glucose can, and so they feed your brain far more efficiently than glucose does. This is exceptional news for those of you who are of a certain age, like myself, because this actually means that it can help to prevent Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease. So burning fat actually means that we have a more sustainable, more smooth energy release throughout the day, rather than the carbohydrate ups and downs and slumps, which can often disrupt you when you're trying to work or play. And of course, if we do have these slumps and ups and downs like we would if we were eating a carbohydrate diet, then this actually means that it will distract us and we have to go and get some food in order for us to feel okay again. Ever heard of the word hangry? My goodness me, we always used to get cranky whenever we hadn't eaten enough, and so we'd have to go and eat something in order to feel okay again. Now we don't have to do that anymore. Now, how about fasting? When we enter the fasted state, by the time we get to 16 to 19 hours without food, we enter something called autophagy. Now, it really does depend on how soon you get into autophagy. If you're already in ketosis, then you'll probably get into autophagy a little bit quicker, as soon as 17 to 18 hours. But if not, then about 19, 20 hours and you will be in autophagy. So what is autophagy? Autophagy is another recycling state. And this means that we actually use up old defunct cells and old viruses that are lurking behind the sofa in the body. We actually recycle these and use them as fuel. Isn't that incredible? Also, deformed cells or cells that have mutated, i.e. precancerous cells, are also gobbled up in this process. And so you can actually be doing yourself an enormously big favour for your health. Eventually, we get to a point where we're actually replacing our white blood cells, which increases our immune response. Fantastic. So with the ketones flowing through your brain, your mind is buzzing and your body's doing just what it should be doing, nice, easy energy release throughout the day. This means that we don't have to stop to refuel all the time. It's a bit like you're on a long journey with your car. If you've got a car that guzzles the fuel really quickly, you have to stop and stop and stop until you reach your destination. But it's the same kind of principle with eating carbohydrates. You keep having to eat all day long, which does actually mean that you'll probably consume more calories than you require. So with keto and fasting, it frees up your day, and then you don't actually have to eat so many calories. Of course, we have to make sure that we keep up the fat content to 70%, 20% proteins, and 5% carbohydrates. But this is really quite easy, and you can actually fit all of that into 1 or 2 small meals. This means that we're free to do more work or more exercise, or just be outside and enjoying the family or enjoying being with your friends. And also with the autophagy, it means that you're clearing out your body of all of the debris that we no longer need that would normally just sit there because we're never in autophagy when we're eating a high-carb diet. Imagine how it feels when you clear out your cupboards or you clear out an old wardrobe, and how fabulous it looks when we've cleaned it and put everything back in just so. It's exactly the same principle. It makes you feel brilliant. So now let's get on to the fat burning, which is what ketosis is all about. Now, it does sound like it would just slurp away all of the stomach fat, but that's not entirely true. The body knows what it's doing, and it will actually go for the most available fat that there is, and that is the fat that wraps around your organs. If you can imagine your liver, your kidneys, all wrapped up in a big fat duvet, it's going to get really, really hot in there. And this means that these organs don't work as efficiently as if they did when they were free and not surrounded by fat. This means that these incredible organs that help to purify the blood and excrete toxins from the body will work more efficiently. At the same time, because you're so efficient with your kidneys and your liver and your spleen and your pancreas, you'll be able to excrete these toxins, but also you'll be able to make sure that the hormones get to each part of your body that's required much, much more efficiently as well. So this means hormones are balanced, which means everything from oxytocin down to the sex hormones and everything in between. Perfect. Most incredibly of all, when we've actually got rid of the fat out from around the organs and in the visceral area, then we do actually burn fat more efficiently as well. So these two tools work beautifully together. It's like a synchronicity that is absolutely perfect. We can't blame you if, like us, you don't want to go back to a high-carb diet anymore. There's another bonus for sticking with keto and fasting as well once you've actually reached your goal. If we lack fasting ability, then the keto will help us to stay in ketosis. But if we're lacking in the keto department and we're eating a little bit too much of what we shouldn't be eating, then the fasting actually takes over and we stay in ketosis. So either way, even if we're imbalanced in one area, the other one will sort it out. So we constantly stay in ketosis. And with intermittent fasting and keto together, this is a wonderful boost because most people just do keto on its own. But if you do actually fast, then if there is any issues, then you can just extend your fast a little further and you can break that plateau. So obviously this means that doing keto and fasting together means that you're more likely to stay on track, because if one falls down, then the other one will pick up the slack and you'll still be losing weight. So now Scats and I have eaten a little bit too much over Christmas, but we have managed to remain in ketosis, even though I've been doing metabolic switching, which means that I do actually have a few more carbs one day a week. Our portion sizes got a little bit bigger over Christmas, and our Christmas dinner was absolutely enormous. But the thing is that we were able to fast the next day and everything was back to normal again. Now we have put on a couple of pounds each. So what we're doing right now is we're doing a prolonged fast, and you should only really do prolonged fasts when you've got used to doing intermittent fasting. But you can do a 48-hour fast fairly simply. And this means that we'll get into really decent autophagy and actually get some good fat burning going. So now, just by using a prolonged fast for a couple of days, we will actually be catapulting ourselves back into fat burning at the highest rate possible. So this is the beauty of ketosis. Even if you fall off the wagon, then it's so easy to get back into it again and back on track really quickly by either increasing fasting time or just getting a little bit more strict with the keto side of things. It makes it so much easier. So, to help you get started on keto, please look at the video that will come up here that I did last week on the tips to start doing keto. So here is the bonus. Now, Scats and I are going to be doing keto and fasting, or at the very, very least, very low carb diet for the rest of our lives now. The reason being is that the health benefits are numerous. And so here are some of those. It reduces the effect of metabolic syndrome, which includes type 2 diabetes. It also improves insulin resistance, which it's now looking like the majority of the people in the Western world actually suffer from. It improves hormonal balancing. It lowers the risk of Alzheimer's and Parkinson's and possibly other forms of dementia as well. It balances out your blood pressure, whether it's too high or too low, you end up coming back to a normal level. It increases your brain function. You can actually feel it working. It's unbelievable. We notice now that we can keep going all day, and then eventually by the time we get to the nighttime when we were thinking, no, can't do any more, we've still got a little bit of energy left, brain energy. It's amazing. It lowers your risk of heart disease and stroke, which are two of the big killers in the Western world. It's also anti-aging, which is fantastic, but not only on the outside, but on the inside as well. You'll actually notice that you do feel like you've got more energy, like you probably did about 10 years ago. I've got more energy now at 50 than I had when I was 40 years old. Amazing. So in conclusion, keto and intermittent fasting pair together absolutely perfectly. And it does mean that you can continue on your journey once you've reached your goal weight and maintain, which is what we're starting to think about now. If you have any questions or queries, or you just want to get in touch with us, then leave some comments below, because we always love to hear from you. We really, really do. Please subscribe and click on the little bell. Ting! And then you'll be notified whenever we have a new video out. Also on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. GMT, we always have a weekly live stream for around about half an hour, 3/4 of an hour, to answer any questions or to tell you about up and coming videos or anything else exciting that's happening in our lives. So thank you very much for watching all the way to the end, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.